Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Sorry, I'm very excited for today. My silver and gold that I invested in comes tomorrow, and my car is in the shop, so that should be ready to drive to Grand Forks on the 21st for my daughter to get her tonsils out. So we're lit. Not a problem. I'm glad you're here. It's never a problem when you have your life to live. I hope everything's getting better and I'm not tripping on it. Thank you for even being here. It's a blessing having you as a person, that part of the family. And I can't ever tell anybody they need to put their own life aside to be in the stream. I really do appreciate you. Trust me. Okay? Never be sorry. Just always come back. Baby, come back. You can blame it all on the dog. Baby, come back. You can blame it all on the dog. Hey, you see this box back here? My pants aren't. See this? This piece of shit. One of my taillights I ordered for a replacement came in broken, so I had to get a refund. And they said they sent it. I still didn't get it. So there is a problem. Shut the fuck up, okay? Be quiet. All right. You're the best dad ever. I'm glad I know you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm glad you know me too. I'm blessed to have you guys as a family on here. I don't play around. You guys are my people. And you guys mean the most to me. So that's just how it is. That's why I feel bad every single time I come back on here, and it took me a while to come back. But my daughter's birthday was Saturday. It was Easter on Sunday. Then this whole last week, I was getting things in order. I finally got my restricted license. I'm getting it on the 15th. Finally got a new battery in my Suburban. Got that started. Just dropped it off at the shop. I bought the CV axle to be replaced. That's going to be going in. I replaced the taillights myself. So everything's going awesome. Everything's going great. And let alone the fact that, you know, um, thank you for the $2 dono. I appreciate you. I'll put your name on the wall in a second here. One sec. I'm trying to get this Trump Iran stuff going on. If you didn't see my my shorts I uploaded before this, I need super chats. I need super chats because I got money, and then I invested in gold. I invested in two gold necklaces I bought for myself because of my son. Pure gold. Obviously, I don't go anything else. So one's 14 karat, one's 10 karat. Made an awesome deal on it. Then I bought a 5 gram gold bar and 100 grams of silver, just because the way the world is going. But yeah, thank you so much, Jazz, for the $2 dono. God bless you. Hopefully, that's a sign that today is going to be lucrative on the stream. Not that it's all about money, but I need to make some money, man. I'm broke. I'm a broke joke, man. I'm a broke joke, looking like a hoax. I'm not really broke, but hold on. What the hell? I'm a brokey. Support ya boy. Some people are going to come in and say, if you're broke, that's your job, or that go get a job. That's what they're going to say. I hope you have a good day at work, Jazz. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you again for the $2 dono. I'm going to get your name written on the wall here in a second. I got to go grab something, and then we're going to get into this news. And by the way, guys, just to start off, the stream with a troll, do you guys believe we went to the moon? Do you believe it? Baby, come back. You can blame it all on me. Sorry. I'm in a good mood, man. My car's getting fixed. We're lit, bro. And I have a nice Suburban, you know? My Suburban is so nice. And I just got the title for it because it's paid off, I guess. And, yeah, it's just so nice. And it's awesome to drive. And I paid, you know, it's mine. Something I got for me and my kids when I first knew I was going to have more than one kid. I couldn't have a Chevy Impala, so I ended up getting a Suburban, and it's awesome. So anyway, let's get into this Trump situation.
Tonight, never to be brought back again.
Trump is over here fully acting like a psychopath, and our government's just allowing it. I don't know where the 25th Amendment is when we need it, but Trump is saying that it's going to be power plant day and bridge day and all these other days, and, you know, we're going to blow them off the face of the earth, this, that, and the third, and now apparently we're coming to a ceasefire. You know, and I posted on, let's go to my X account. I posted on X that Trump is the final nail in the coffin when it comes to us believing in the government, right? So this is what I posted. It says, Trump's the final nail in the coffin for the rest of our trust to be gone because of this. I mean, when you listen to this,
be willing to.
I want you guys to listen to this clip, and I want you to seriously tell me what you think. This man literally is just trying to piss in our faces, right? Good morning, Skippy. I hope you had a good birthday yesterday, brother. But anyways, I need you guys to let me know what you think about Trump in this little clip. Because he's literally pissing in our faces. He's literally sitting here thinking we're just going to eat up the bullshit he's saying to us. Throwing out random just things to say. And like I said in the quote on the stream, I said, Trump is the final nail in the coffin for the rest of our trust to be gone in the government. And this clip is exactly why. I mean, just listen to him.
Why would they want you to blow up their infrastructure, to cut off their power? Wouldn't that be punishing Iranians for the actions of the regime?
They would be willing to, and it's suffering, they would be willing to suffer that in order to have freedom. The Iranians have, and we've had numerous intercepts. Please keep bombing. Bombs that are dropping near their homes. Please keep bombing. Do it. And these are people that are living where the bombs are exploding. And when we leave and we're not hitting those areas, they're saying, please come back, come back.
So what, are these people just calling the government saying, guys, come back? I mean, you guys missed the target. You guys need to come back and bomb right next to my house where my children are sleeping and living. And you guys just need to come back and throw another couple missiles. Okay.
Come back. These are the people. I don't know what they do. All I can tell you is they want freedom. They have lived in a world that you know nothing about. It's a violent, horrible world where if you protest, you are shot. Remember the great woman protests where they had 400,000, 500,000 women, and they were all enthused and they were going to protest, and everybody said, oh, the regime's going to come to an end. And then all of a sudden, boom, boom, 5,
boom.
6.
Boom. Guys, this is, Trump's dead to me too, trust me. This is the new meme, guys, right? This is the new meme. Guys, pay attention. This is the new meme right here. Ready? Ready? Boom. 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 That's the new meme. You understand? That's the new meme. Boom. This fucking guy, I'm telling you. I'm so done with Trump. He's evil, like Nick Fuentes said. He's evil, man.
6 different areas. A woman would go down right between the eyes. They had snipers. They had 5 snipers. That's all it took. And those 400,000 or 500,000 women said, oh my God, what's that?
Oh my God, what's that? Dude, this guy, I had to share this clip because I posted on Twitter yesterday and I said, he's just the final nail in the coffin for our trust in the government to be gone. Like, completely. The way he's talking right now is just like 25th Amendment.
Oh, look over there. What's that? A woman shot right between the eyes. And
Guys. Boom. Boom. Boom.
And after 5 or 6 of them go down, then you start hearing the purr through the vast number of people. And then they said, oh my God, who would do that? And they're incredible people, but they've lived so horribly. They've lived so horribly. You know, Iran
You're right, Steeler. He definitely tricked everybody. That's for sure.
was a great country if you go back 25 years ago or so. The Persian people, they're incredible, smart, brilliant, actually. And I know so many. I know coming from New York, originally, I know so many people from Iran. They're incredible people, incredible energy, and very, very brilliant people. But when you're standing in a group and protesting, and you have a woman, in the case of a woman, remember the Great Woman March. Everybody was saying, "Oh, this is the end of the country," and then snipers selectively picked. Every single one was shot right between the eyes from a long distance. They were on top of buildings. Nobody even knew where they were, where they're coming from. This wasn't like a machine gun, which is also very bad. They've done that too. They did that recently. This was snipers sitting on the top of buildings, aiming and hitting women. And when they see people go down, and all of a sudden there's a riot in the reverse direction, and they never came out again. And a lot of the news doesn't talk about that. They talk about, oh, women's rights. You want to see women's rights? You're not going to see it there. It's amazing when I see some of the stupid people like,
Make sure you guys double tap the screen, man. Show some love and support. Let's get in the algorithm. We're going to be streaming for a while today.
AOC+3, all that group. They talk about, oh, freedom for Iran. They don't tell you the real facts. Women.
Thank you again to Jazz for the super chat.
Men, gays. How about gays for Iran? They kill the gays. They throw them off buildings. So I wonder what's going on. I can only say this. They want us to keep bombing, even if it jeopardizes, because their life is in much greater danger. They want freedom for Iran, but it's very hard for them to protest. I actually tell them, I said, don't go out. I fully understand. Nobody in this room would go out. I don't think there's any, because frankly, it's not a question of bravery. We're all brave, right? You're brave, I'm brave, we're all brave. But we're also intelligent. If you have people shooting at...
Really? Are you intelligent, Donald Trump? Are you intelligent, Trump? Are you intelligent? I would really love to know that. Well, you are, but you are also a big piece of what? Finish the word for me, chat.
At you. Expert shots with the
I
best
sound like a leftist.
rifles
I mean,
you can...
I truly sound like a leftist, but I'm not a leftist. You know? I'm right-handed, to be honest.
get, and hitting you right between the eyes every single time. And you're looking here, and you're seeing, and you're looking here. You're out of there. I don't care who it is.
That was just, again, guys, the new meme is, boom. Right between the eyes. Boom. Fucking joke. What a joke this guy is.
And good evening. We do begin with that breaking news. A last-minute deal tonight between the U.S. and Iran to stop the fighting, at least temporarily, after 38 days of joint...
Oh, yeah, I wanted to show you this. You want to know how we know he's lying?
100.
I want you guys to listen to this video right here.
Let me explain something to you again for the 100th time. There is no government in Iran anymore. There is no such thing as a government. There is IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Council. They are running the show right now. Before the assassination of Ayatollah Khamenei, Khamenei sat down with his general and they made this plan, his mosaic. There's no centralized power in it. There is nobody can tell him what to do anymore. That is gone. He gave them the authority before his death. They had a plan. They are executing the plan. The political leadership of Iran is incapable of undoing that. There is nobody in the power that can tell them stop. And to make sure it happens, they divided it into 31 groups, like the number of the states in the Islamic Republic of Iran. If one is infiltrated, fine. There's 30 groups left. If half of them are infiltrated, there's 15 groups left. Most of the spies Israel has, they are for information providing. The same guy who provides information to Israel is probably shooting the buttons to launch the missiles to Israel. He has two jobs. He's getting two paychecks to push the same button. He just tells them, I pushed the button. That's all. So you have to understand that reaching a political resolution doesn't mean that those people are going to stop sending drones to destroy the ships in the Strait of Hormuz, okay? This war isn't gonna stop. Iraq doesn't have a war anymore. His role is finished. He did his best. They give all the humiliating surrender concession he could to Trump on February 28th. But guess what? Trump said, fuck it, I'm gonna start a war. Now it's out. And Iran told Trump, it's gonna be regional, we're gonna burn the region down. They told Trump that we're gonna remove the extensions because Ayatollah Khamenei put a limit to the missile. He said, I want only missiles that go 2,000 miles or kilometers. I don't know which one. But he removed it after the...
You guys have to understand, too, how much money Iran is making right now, letting these other ships in. I mean, a lot of money.
12-day wars in June 13, that started last year, 2025. Ever since they increased the range, they can reach whatever they want. They can have intercontinental ballistic missiles right now. IRGC is making money by letting those ships go through the Strait of Hormuz. They got money, and they're getting intel from Russia and China, right? And they got 10 million soldiers on the ground. Not gonna happen. There's not gonna be an invasion on the ground. Maybe they attack a bunch of locations here and there. But what I'm telling you is this: there's not gonna be a ceasefire. There's not gonna be a cessation of hostilities from the IRGC. They're divided, and they got orders. It's a one-way ticket.
Make sure you guys double tap the screen, man. Show some love and support. If double tapping the screen doesn't work, hit the 3 dots on the top right corner and hit the like button that way. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. I appreciate every single one of you guys. We're almost to 11,000. We're running it up, y'all. I love y'all. Let's try and hit 100 likes within the first hour. We have 43 minutes left within the first hour of the stream. Let's try and hit 100 likes.
Cannot go back. Maybe if Mojtaba Khamenei comes out and says something, but nothing he says is going to come out without the IRGC that are protecting him right now. Who's running the show? Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Yep, nobody knows. Not even Trump. So that's kind of a breakdown on how it is in Iran right now. But again, let's just get into this little news clip here, and then I got another one I want to show.
And good evening. We do begin with that breaking news, a last-minute deal tonight.
By the way, while we're reacting and stuff like that, if you want to get your chats read and your name put down on the super chat wall, send through your super chat, show some love and support. I know I haven't been live in a while, but we are here. We are here. And we're going to be on here for a while. Much love to everybody, man, for being here. God bless you guys. I hope you all had an awesome Easter weekend and Easter break. Appreciate you guys for being here again. Show some love and support by supporting the channel. Become a member. Become a See Me Now soldier. See Me Now general. Shout out to all my soldiers and generals out there. And, yeah.
Between the U.S. and Iran to stop the fighting, at least temporarily, after 38 days of joint U.S.-Israeli military operations against Iran, known as Operation Epic Fury. That agreement announced this evening by President Trump. Iran will reopen the Strait of Hormuz, that crucial oil shipping lane that has been choked off for weeks, and the U.S. will stop its attacks for at least 2 weeks. The double-sided ceasefire, as the president calls it, was brokered by Pakistan. After multiple delays, the president had given Iran's leaders until 8 p.m. Eastern to reopen the strait or else, threatening attacks on power plants, bridges, and more. Let's get it right to senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang for more on all this and the absolute latest. Weijia Jiang, tell me the update. Good evening. Just this morning, the president was threatening to follow through with a massive bombing campaign against Iran. So what changed?
Well, Tony, we know that at this hour, President Trump is inside working in the Oval Office. And of course, just a short time ago, he fired off that tweet with the critical announcement. We know that intense talks unfolded throughout the day with the Pakistani prime minister negotiating the ceasefire agreement and Vice President Vance representing the U.S. in those talks. The president made clear that his top priority for any agreement was reopening the Strait of Hormuz. He said Iran has agreed to the complete, immediate, and safe opening of the strait, and that's why he agreed to suspend the bombing and attack of Iran for a period of 2 weeks. As you mentioned, he is calling this a, quote, double-sided ceasefire.
So, Weijia, the details matter here. What happens now?
Well, President Trump says he has received a 10-point proposal from Iran, and he believes it is a workable basis on which to negotiate further, adding that this 2-week period will allow the agreement to be finalized. What we don't know, Tony, is whether the president's dire threat remains. Just this morning, of course, he warned that if a deal was not reached to end the war, quote, a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. He says the U.S. has a plan to bomb Iran's bridges and power plants, which has raised concerns among both Democrats and Republicans because, of course, that is civilian infrastructure. Tony, we should note that as of this hour, though, we have not heard from Israel or from Iran, and the Pakistani Prime Minister says that more details will come in due course.
All right, Weijia, thank you very much.
Ouija. That's a crazy name.
Today, Pope Leo in a...
Hey guys, I see there's almost 100 of us in here. I appreciate you guys for stepping into the stream. Much love to every single one of you guys. I haven't been live for a while, but your boy's back, and I'm back, and I'm back. Show some love and support by double tapping the screen. If double tapping the screen doesn't work, hit the dots on the top right corner and like the stream that way. Also hit subscribe. We are so close to 11,000 subs, but most importantly, we are on the road to 100K, man. We're going to get that silver plaque. So everybody that's in here, show some love and support. To any vets that are in here, thank you for your service. I hope you guys had a good Easter weekend. Let's get into this next clip.
Rare statement in English so Donald Trump could understand him. He directed a statement at Donald Trump that tried to convince Donald Trump to not go through with his threatened war crimes today against Iran.
Asking all people of goodwill to search always for peace and not violence, to reject war, especially a war which many people have said is an unjust war, which is continuing to escalate and which is not resolving anything. Let's remember especially the innocent, children, the elderly, the sick, so many people who have already become or will be.
Why does this guy have like an accent? Isn't he from America? Isn't this fucking guy from America?
Become victims of.
Sorry, I'm trying to be more PG, my bad.
Continued warfare. To remind all that attacks on civilian infrastructure is against international law, but that it is also a sign of the hatred, the division, the destruction that the human being is capable of, and we all want to work for peace.
Also today, our next guest, Democratic Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts, who has voted twice to stop Donald Trump's illegal war in Iran, said, quote, "We have a warmonger in the White House. He has threatened war crimes on an apocalyptic scale and appears eager to commit them. The House and Senate must return to session. The House must pass articles of impeachment, and then the Senate must vote to convict and remove the president, or the cabinet and vice president, with congressional concurrence, must invoke the 25th Amendment and remove Trump. His threats cannot be dismissed as mere rhetoric. This is as grave a moment as the world has faced in the nuclear era." Joining us now is Democratic Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts. Senator, thank you very much for joining us tonight. What is your reaction to Donald Trump, as Iran puts it, surrendering now and stopping his war, leaving Iran in control of the Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah, Donald Trump has surrendered, not the Iranians. And what he has been doing over the last several days is an impeachable offense. He has threatened a genocide against a nation. He has threatened to end a civilization. He has threatened to use nuclear weapons against a country that does not have nuclear weapons. All of these are impeachable offenses, and he must be brought to justice. The House and Senate should be brought back into session. There should be articles of impeachment brought against him by the Democrats in the House of Representatives. We need to make Donald Trump accountable for what he has just done in the name of the American people. And I think this is going to be a defining moment for the Congress, for the American people. We cannot allow Donald Trump in control of nuclear weapons to be invoking this madman theory of the destruction of a civilization in the name of the American people without him being brought to accountability. The impeachment process must begin.
We have reports tonight of over 50 House Democrats agreeing with you on this, over 20 Senate Democrats agreeing with you on exactly this. I want to read you the one statement we have about this from a Senate Republican, and that's Senator Lisa Murkowski. Every other Senate Republican has avoided saying a word about it. She said the president's threat that a whole civilization will die tonight cannot be excused away as an attempt to...
Yeah, that's fucked up, dude. Especially like when we just came out of the whole Palestine situation and, you know, what happened in Palestine and what's continuing to happen in Palestine is so messed up and barbaric. The fact that Donald Trump came out and said that they're going to just do all these, you know, bomb power plants, bomb civilian bridges, you know, wipe a whole civilization off the earth. This is not talks of a diplomatic, rational president. Like, this is talks of a person who has a power trip, who thinks he's God, who thinks that he can do whatever. Like, that's something that, you know, we're the only country who ever dropped a nuke, right? If we did it again, I mean, to him, it's probably the, you know, he has a bucket list, like Nick said, you know, like on one end, he doesn't want to do it. On one end, he probably does. I mean, he has such a big ego and this is his last term. It's like, whatever. But like, this is just the worst diplomacy / effort to fight a country or negotiate or even be a good president to our people I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. People want to cry about fucking, you know, Palestine, but then want to support, you know, wiping a whole civilization off the earth. I'm never for killing kids. Welcome in, Spartan. I'm never for killing kids. Okay? Or like when people say it's the Jews. Like, no, not all Jewish people are bad, right? It's the government. And yes, it may be war, but does that make it okay to just unalive innocent children and women? Just like if we got bombed here, people were threatened to drop nukes here. We have innocent women and children here, men and women. And a lot of us don't even agree with the war. And I'm sure a lot of the people in Iran don't agree either. So should they have to suffer at the feet of a few people at the top who are disagreeing? Right?
Gain leverage in negotiations with Iran. This type of rhetoric is an affront to the ideals of our nation, has sought to uphold and promote around the world for nearly 250 years.
All of us Americans want to sit here and say, like this Brandon guy, cry me a river, this is war. Dude, okay. The United States hasn't been attacked for a long time. We are in this bubble of comfort. We're not being bombed strategically or bombed overnight or have to have our freaking missile systems intercept missiles or go hide in bomb shelters. We have that privilege. And a lot of us here want to sit here and say, it's war. Who cares if innocent women and children die? Who cares? Blah, 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 blah. You have no right to even say that shit.
Our longstanding role as a global...
Go live in Iran where they're getting bombed the whole time. Go live in Israel, if you want to say that. Then come back and tell me.
Beacon of freedom and directly endangers Americans both abroad and at home. But the rest of your Republican Senate colleagues are absolutely silent, along with the Republican Speaker of the House, who did not say one word about this today.
My Republican colleagues are spineless. They are in a witness protection program. It's almost like the invasion of the body snatchers. You look at them, they look like the same human beings, but inside it just MAGA controlled, Trump controlled. They just don't have the courage to stand up when something which is clearly a violation of everything that our country is supposed to stand for is being compromised by Donald Trump. And the question is, for them, it's 40 days later. Are we better off today.
Hey guys, we do have 30 minutes left within the first hour. We always try and hit 100 likes within the first hour of the stream. Make sure you guys double tap your screen. If double tapping doesn't work to like, hit the 3 dots on the top right corner and hit the like button that way. Show some love and support. I appreciate every single one of you guys. We're at 17 likes. We just need 83 more likes to get to 100. Everybody double tap your screen, show some love and support.
Today than we were 40 days ago?
Subs.
No, the Iranian army now controls the Straits of Hormuz and the price of oil for the world. And they can charge a fee for every ship which is going through. Do we control the uranium? No, we do not. The Iranian army still controls the enriched uranium that could hold the world hostage. Are the Iranian people free? No, they're terrified of our country, that we would blow up their bridges, their schools, their civilization. And has there been regime change? No, there has not. All we have is Ayatollah Senior replaced by Ayatollah Junior. So
right,
all of this has occurred in the last 40 days without a peep from the Republican leadership in our country. And there is something fundamentally wrong with our democracy when Donald Trump can threaten the use of nuclear weapons to destroy a civilization, and the Republican Party refuses to respond at all. And the American people are going to pay an Iran war tax every day they go to the pump. It's Trump at the pump. It's up $1 a gallon. It's not going away. We just have a 2-week reprieve, and it's going to ripple right through our economy. And ultimately, the voters are going to be coming with pitchforks for Republican House and Senate members this election in November.
Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey, thank you very much for joining our coverage tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, I don't know.
Senator Mark Warner of Virginia has served on the Intelligence Committee for 14 years. He's been the top Democrat on intelligence for nearly a decade. And that has put him at the forefront of a lot of really intense matters of national security and international intrigue. And that is why it is striking to see somebody like Senator Mark Warner now come out in the middle of this war and send a flag up a very different pole. This is the warning that Senator Warner has just hoisted. Quote, Trump is trying to override our voting system. Quote, foreign interference is no longer the most pressing danger to our elections. It's increasingly evident that the greatest threat now comes from inside our own government. For months, President Trump has made his intentions clear. He's called for the federal government to take over elections, impose national rules, and override state authority. Now we're beginning to see how he may plan to do this. Allies of Trump's working in coordination with people close to the White House have circulated a draft executive order that would declare a national emergency based on false claims of foreign interference in the 2020 election. That declaration would be used to unlock sweeping presidential powers over how Americans vote. The proposal would allow the federal government to bar widely used voting methods, including mail. It would force Americans to re-register to vote on short notice. It would require proof of citizenship. It would insert federal agencies into the voter verification process in novel ways. It would attempt to override the constitutional role of states in administering elections. Senator Warner says, quote, there is no legitimate basis for such an emergency. That is not the point. The point is that the Trump administration could manufacture an impression of an emergency, creating a pretext for intervention. Joining us now is Senator Mark Warner, the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee. Senator, I'm really pleased to have you with us tonight. Thank you very much for making the time.
Thank you, Rachel.
I'm struck by, as I said, you sort of hoisting this warning right now in the middle of so many overlapping crises that we are having, including the multiple crises surrounding this war in Iran. What is the sense of urgency that you have about raising this alarm right now?
Well, first of all, Rachel, I wish I could rebut what you said about the cybersecurity threats, the war, or the detention centers, but you are right on all of those. A year ago, people would say to me, hey, Senator, do you think there's going to be free elections in 26 and 28? And I kind of blew it off. A year later, I am terrified that this administration...
Hey, we need 78 more beautiful people. Just double tap that screen, show some love and support. I appreciate every single one of you guys for being here. We have 128 people. Everybody double tap your screens, man. Help me get in the algorithm. Support your boy. We always try and hit 100 likes within the first hour of the stream. We have 25 minutes left. We need 77 more beautiful people to double tap the screen, show some love and support.
Is going to try to create some incident that can...
Shout out Pakistan.
...allow federal intervention. You know, we've seen the president already say, you know, he wants the feds to take over, or Republicans to take over elections. We've heard his former Secretary of National Homeland Security say, we want the right people to vote for the right people. We have seen, you know, this executive order that came out the day I put out this warning saying he wanted all the states to turn over their voter files to his DHS secret formula that would screen who could be an appropriate voter. Totally absurd. But I am terrified because these policies are so unpopular that this crowd may try to do anything, including intervening in our election with federal forces, troops at the ballot, or disinformation that could actually be catastrophic. Because if we get off the notion of a free and fair election, I don't know how we ever return to that.
One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you about this is because of your intimate knowledge about the oversight of intelligence matters. And it really does seem like there's...
Thank you so much to Jazzle for another $2 dono. I appreciate you, girl. Much love to you. I hope you're having a fantastic day at work. Thank you so much again. I appreciate all the support. As you guys know, my car is in the shop. And got a lot of things going on. And so all your guys' donos and super chats really do help the channel and help your boy out. So thank you so much again, Jazz. God bless you. Thank you for blessing me. I truly do appreciate it. We need 69 more likes to get to 100. Much love to everybody in here. God bless you guys. And double tap your screens, man. We have 23 minutes left within the first hour. Make sure you guys go ahead and double tap your screens and show some love and support. And send through your super chats. Support your boy, man.
A prospect here, particularly with what Tulsi Gabbard has been doing and the other ways they've been...
I'm going to find the marker so I can write your name down.
...talking about intelligence matters in relation to the election. It does seem possible that they're going to cite some form of bogus intelligence about some sort of threat, about some sort of pretextual emergency that allows them to take over elections in some extraordinary way. If they misuse intelligence, if they make up some phony, bogus intelligence threat or deliberately misconstrue some piece of intelligence to make that kind of a claim, does the structure of oversight in the intelligence community...
Thank you so much. Again, Jazz, for $2. I wrote your name down twice. Are we at 11K subs? Let's look. Let's see if we're at 11K. Hold on, I'm going to black my screen out quick while I pull up the sub count. Oop, not Canva. Streamlabs. Okay, 1 second, y'all. Sorry. But let's get this look. Or let's get the view count on. Man, we've just been running it up, dude. Like, it's so crazy, and I'm so blessed, you know? But here we are. 10,952, man. We need 8 more beautiful people to just subscribe so we can hit 11,000 subs. We're on the road to 20. Most importantly, 100K, man. We're trying to get that silver plaque. So make sure you guys show some love and support. We need 67 more likes, so everybody double tap your screen, show some love and support. Help me get to 100 likes within the first hour. We have 21 minutes left. Send through your super chats, show some love and support. And yeah, we're at 10,952, man. Let's try and hit 11K today.
Community allow for anybody who knows that it's bogus to actually blow the whistle, to actually say, hey, we know this isn't right?
I would hope so. And I believe at the outset, Tulsi Gabbard, who has no role in domestic activities, was down in Fulton County, Georgia, when they seized those ballots. Tulsi Gabbard, who was supposed to be looking at foreign interference, seized voting machines in Puerto Rico illegally, I believe. For the first time in 10 years, this administration has not acknowledged any foreign influence threat, even though they're out there. So the idea they would pick some threat, real or conceived, to use as an excuse, I think we have to be very conscious of. So I've been trying to meet with former military leaders, intelligence leaders, law enforcement, just to say, you know, if you see something that comes out that's a crock, speak up and rebut. And the press, frankly, needs to do it as well. This is about the heart of our democracy, whether it's going to be free and fair elections. If we don't stand up for that, and my fear is, as somebody who has been criticized by you many times for being way too bipartisan, but I've lost a lot of faith that my Republican partners in the Senate will stand up for our basic fair voting and democracy.
Senator Mark Warner, the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee. Sir, I know cable news interviews aren't your favorite thing to do in the world, and I know that I've given you, my share of criticism over the years. But I always appreciate you being willing to be here and the way you're so candid about stuff like this. Thank you so much for being here, sir.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for speaking out.
Yeah, I don't
know. I'm grateful to stand here with my two colleagues. I'm blessed to serve.
No, Jazz, I only need 8 subs, man. 8 more subs. 8 more people need to subscribe. We'll be at 11,000 subs, man. Show some love and support.
With two extraordinary leaders in the United States Senate, Jeff Merkley and Ron Wyden, and your Congresswoman, this district knows this, is a national treasure, frankly, and an extraordinary leader. I'm here today with my colleagues because this is a moral moment in American history. You cannot have a president of the United States of America threatening to destroy an entire civilization, to openly say he wants to bomb a nation back to the Stone Age. All of us in a bipartisan manner thought it was horrors when the Iranian regime was slaughtering thousands of their people. But now our president is talking about eliminating 90 million human beings and setting their nation back into a humanitarian crisis like we have never seen before. This is unacceptable, and it comes on top of a president who has already engaged this nation in an unconstitutional war, unilaterally declaring war with Iran and not coming to Congress as our Constitution says. And he has made matters worse for our nation. Not only spending tens of billions of our dollars in this war, but setting off cost shocks in our country that are not only causing the worst oil crisis, worse than the 1970s, but driving up the cost of goods and services for all Americans. We are footing the bill for Donald Trump's...
Hey guys, we have 17 more minutes left within the first hour. Can we double tap the screen and show some love and support? It looks like we only need 64 more beautiful people to double tap the screen so we can get to 100 likes within the first hour, man. Show some love and support. Hit that like button. Double tap your screen. And let's get to it, man.
Constitutional war. That should have been enough to have Congress never leave session at all and to actually do its job. We should have never let Congress out on recess. We should have been on the floor of the Senate holding open hearings about this disastrous war. We should have been in the Senate debating, like the Constitution wants us to be, a check and balance, oversight, accountability. But the Congress has failed to do its job. And now this president, who is acting more like a mad king, is threatening societal elimination. This is a moral moment, and we must reject it, and Congress must do its job. I join with my colleagues here and other colleagues around this country with saying that the Senate and the House should be back in session, that we should stop an out-of-control president who is causing such harm to the American people and threatening to escalate a war that is already out of control. This is not justice.
Welcome in, Cheryl.
This is not who America is. There is no.
By the way, while I'm reacting to this stuff and I'm watching this stuff, if you guys want to get your chats read, you have an opinion, you have something you want me to check out, send through your super chats, $10 and above. I do have a 5 super chat goal up of $10 and above. Help me reach my goal. But if you want me to read your chat, I think it's $2 and above, I think is where you can type. Send your super chats through while I'm watching this, so I don't lose your chat, and it supports the channel as well. So make sure you guys double tap that screen. I appreciate y'all for liking, man. Now we only need 55 more beautiful people to double tap that screen so we can be at 100 likes within the first hour. We have 15 minutes left. Can we do it? I don't know. Maybe. Where the fuck is my mouse at, fool? Is it dead? My shit died, bro. God charge.
Nobility in what our president is doing or saying. Congress must stand up now. Dear God, Congress should come back in session and do its job. This is American history. From Bunker Hill to Stonewall to the march over the Edmund Pettus Bridge, these were Americans who stood up for what was right, and they lost. But we're here because they stood up for the highest ideals of our country. King said it more eloquently than me, that what we will have to repent for in this day and age is not just the vitriolic words and violent actions of the bad people, but the appalling silence and inaction of the good people. Americans cannot be silent while a president has usurped the Constitution, pledged tens of billions of dollars. We've lost 13 of our soldiers, hundreds more injured. How can we be silent in a moment like this when he is threatening societal devastation? Mother Teresa was asked, how does she judge success? She says, I was not called to be successful, I was called to be faithful. If there's ever a time to be faithful to the Constitution, faithful to the highest ideals of this country, faithful to the values we all stand for, it is now, and we need to be speaking out. These leaders behind me and to my sides, God bless them. All over this country, I've just traveled the nation. People want to know, why aren't Democrats doing more? Where are you going to stand up? Well, we stand here, we stand now. Hours before our president is threatening to eliminate tens of millions of human beings, to devastate their civilian infrastructure, to commit crimes. This is the moment to stand up and speak out. I'm a black guy in America, and the entire African-American history was about time and time again of standing up and fighting and unfortunately facing wretched.
I'm sorry, I know we're talking about serious stuff here. My bad. By the way, we need 51 more beautiful people to double tap that screen so we can get to 100 likes. We have 13 minutes left. Anyway, I know that this is a side note because we're watching something serious, but bro, Russ's girlfriend is fine as fuck, bro. Definitely my type, homie. Definitely my type. Sorry. Anyways.
Difficult times, but never ever giving up. And I'm going to tell you this right now. We did not get voting rights in America because a bunch of senators came to the floor and Strom Thurmond said, hey, I've seen the light, let those Negro people have the right to vote. We got it because of activism of people. And when one person stands up, even if it's just one person, they inspire another and another and another. I'm going to tell you right now, we're in the minority. Us alone are not going to do it. But if other Americans join us in this call, if more and more people start demanding that their government actually function, and that the Senate be more than just a group of people that practice an advanced form of yoga and bend over backwards for the president, but actually serve as a check and a balance on their power, that's when we start seeing change. This is still a democracy. The power of the people is greater than the people in power. But what we're simply doing is trying to encourage other people to speak up, to stand up. We have a president right now that is eviscerating the values and ideals of America, not Democrats, but of Americans writ large. This war is profoundly unpopular, from Republicans to Democrats. Nobody wants a president to spend at a time that we are losing our health care, that they're canceling feeding programs for our children, that they say they can't support public schools. Nobody wants them to spend $50 billion and the lives of too many Americans overseas. Nobody wants this. And so the only thing possible for evil to be triumphant, and I'm not saying an evil person, I'm saying war is evil. Sometimes it's a necessary evil, but it's always an evil. This one is an unconstitutional evil. The only thing necessary for it to continue is for good people to do nothing. And so, yeah, we're going to fight with everything we have, but no way that some Democrats in the Senate are going to win. What we need is Democrats in the Senate to stand up, the people to stand up, and then ultimately, I think, you're going to start seeing Republicans of good conscience finally choosing to stand with us. That's how we ended the Vietnam War. That's how we gained rights in this country.
The ceasefire came after the urging of Pakistan, a key mediator. Islamabad has offered to host negotiations between Washington and Tehran on Friday. For more, let's bring in Horizon's Middle East and Africa anchor Jumana Basachi in Dubai. And Jumana, how likely is it that this will translate to a durable ceasefire?
That is the big question on everyone's mind, Haslinda. And I will say it has been a dramatic 12 hours here in the region. I think everybody went to sleep, perhaps anticipating or expecting the worst after President Trump's latest Truth Social post in which he threatened to kill an entire civilization. And of course, he woke up to the news that a 2-week ceasefire had been agreed to. Now, this after an intense diplomatic effort put forward and spearheaded by Pakistan. And as we understand, and even President Trump credited China to bringing Iran to the negotiating table. So a lot of back-channel diplomacy has gone throughout the course of the evening. President Trump putting up a post about 90 minutes before that 8 p.m. Eastern time deadline, saying that they have agreed to the complete, immediate and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz. And on the back of that, the U.S. will suspend their military operations for a couple of weeks. Now, it's important to note here that Iran, too, the Iranian foreign minister, also put up their agreement, so their principles, and they have said that they are subscribing to this ceasefire. But for as long as this ceasefire holds for the next 2 weeks, any vessels looking to pass through the Strait of Hormuz will still need to get approval from the Iran armed forces. They've also overnight released their 10-point principles for which they would like to see a full cessation of hostilities. And if you look through those 10-point proposals, many of them are non-starters as far as the U.S. and broader Gulf regions are concerned. So I think there's still a lot of questions at this point as to whether this ceasefire can actually translate into a durable and permanent end to the hostilities. But one thing we know for sure is that it provides a reprieve and it walks us away from the
46 more beautiful people. Just need to double tap that screen so we can get to 100 likes within the first hour. We have 8 minutes left, guys. 46 more beautiful people. Just need to double tap the motherfucking screen so we can get to 100 motherfucking likes, please. Show some love and support. I love you guys. I'm sorry.
Brink of, truly an escalatory situation where military operations keep ramping up and we keep seeing the destruction of civilian infrastructure.
Dan, talk to us about the role that Pakistan has played in this. I mean, is this a huge surprise? A country that has never quite negotiated a peace deal before.
Yeah, I mean, Pakistan emerged in the past couple of weeks as a key interlocutor between the U.S. and Iran. And it's really...
Skippy! You are beautiful, bro. Don't you ever say that again.
Really been in the making over the past year. If you look back to early last year, Pakistan had sort of been isolated by the Biden administration, which had really poured a lot of its efforts into courting India as a counterweight to China. Fast forward to last April, May, you had the fighting with India. You had Trump intervening in that conflict. And Pakistan was just ready to declare that Trump helped broker this ceasefire with India. And India was not ready to declare that, as we know. And it led to the U.S. really a downturn in ties with India and also very close ties with Pakistan. So in particular, their army chief, Asim Munir, went to the White House a couple of times. So, and not to mention, we had a story in this a couple.
Yes, free Palestine, 100%. I just find it funny how, and I'm not saying this is you, Kaiser, but I find it funny how there's a lot of people who are like, they hate what happened in Palestine. They talk about it, and then all of a sudden they support this war. It's wild. 41 more beautiful people. Just need to double tap the screen. I appreciate you guys. We have 5 minutes left to see. Let's see if we can hit 100 likes. But I appreciate you guys. Much love. Sorry, gosh darn, I can't. I got the hiccups.
Weeks ago that Pakistan used crypto diplomacy to also boost ties with Trump's family business as well. So all of those things led to Pakistan being in a good position now to help broker this deal. Remember, they sit
a lot
right
at stake for Pakistan, too. It is on the brink of an energy crisis.
Yeah, certainly. Economically, they need that oil and gas flowing. So they are right next, they're neighbors with Iran. They have a defense treaty with Saudi Arabia. They also have close ties with China, and they have close ties with the U.S. So they're sitting in a good position with all of those key players. And as you mentioned, they need that energy. And so the more they could play a role, the more they can secure supplies that they need to keep their own population.
And then you talked about China. Some say perhaps China was the real power broker here, that it was China that actually sealed the deal, so to speak.
Yeah, there is reporting from the New York Times and others that there was a last-minute intervention by China to get involved. We know that Pakistan and China had a joint peace proposal last week. Of course, China is the biggest buyer of Iranian oil. They would presumably be involved in helping to finance any reconstruction after the war. And they're just a key economic partner for Iran altogether. So we're still trying to report that out, what kind of exactly went down behind the scenes and what pressure China put on.
What role, if any, might China play in this?
Well, China's been floating the Iranian economy now since the JCPOA, since the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. They've put $400 billion into Iran's $400 billion economy and have not seen the return on investment. And if you look at the amount of oil that China depends on from Iran, they do have a say. Without China, without Russia, Iran is really left friendless in a way. And, you know, the way they've treated their divorce attorney Qatar and their divorce attorney Oman during this conflict has further isolated the regime. So China played a huge role. And this is in China's interest. It's also in China's interest and Russia's that Iran does not leave the non-nuclear proliferation treaty. And that's something that they threatened to do in this conflict, and they've walked away from that. And I do believe that's because of China and Russia's pressure on the regime.
Energy analysts say the strikes from Iran and Israel on energy infrastructure, including gas fields and oil refineries, could take years to repair. We turn now to Pepe Escobar. He's a Eurasia-wide geopolitical analyst, author, and editor-at-large at Asia Times. Pepe, great to see you.
Good to see you.
Sorry, guys. If you guys catch me looking away from the screen, not talking much, it's because I'm editing a video as well as doing this, so. See what Al Jazeera is
Ceasefire, absolutely. We need the initiative of the president to go forward, and then the peace talks will start with the president and with the state of Lebanon. And we call on Iran to.
We do have 2 minutes left within the first hour, guys. We just need 38 more beautiful people. Double tap that screen, show some love and support. Appreciate every single one of you guys, man, for supporting the stream. I do have a 5 super chat goal up of $10 and above. 5 super chats, $10 and above. Make sure you guys help me reach my super chat goal by supporting the channel and super chatting. If you guys want to go further, then become a member, a See Me Now Soldier or See Me Now General. Join the See Me Now family. We are at how many subs? We were 8 subs away from 11K. Let's see if we're at 11K yet. We need one more person to subscribe, and we'll be at 11,000 subs. I appreciate you guys, man. On the road to 20K, most importantly, on the road to 100. We're going to get that plaque soon.
Stop interfering with the sovereignty and the decisions that the state of Lebanon is taking, and most importantly, to stop supporting Hezbollah. Hezbollah is now a militia that is outside the law. The state is the primary institution that needs to be calling on on war and peace, and it's the one that will be spearheading any ceasefire agreement and any peace negotiation. So definitely we need the state to be leading on all of this, and I'm sure the president is not saving any minute to contact all the stakeholders in order to reach the ceasefire agreement.
All right.
Soon.
Najat Owen-Saliba, do appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us here on Al Jazeera. That's Najat Owen-Saliba, independent member of parliament in Lebanon. Thank you. Okay, Israeli attacks on Lebanon continue, as we've been discussing, despite the US and Israel agreeing to a 2-week ceasefire with Iran. As part of the deal, Tehran will allow ships safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz, and further talks are scheduled in Pakistan. That's on Friday. President Donald Trump has revealed new details of the ceasefire deal from the US perspective. In several posts on Truth Social, he says a country supplying military weapons to Iran will be immediately tariffed on any and all goods sold to the United States of America, 50% effective immediately. Trump says there will be no enrichment of uranium, and the United States will, working with Iran, dig up and remove all of the deeply buried.
Thank you to, let's see who subbed. Thank you to Steve162 for the subscription. God bless you and your family. Welcome to the See Me Now family. We are now at 11,000 subs, man. I appreciate you guys. God bless you guys. Make sure you hit that sub button on the road to 100K, man.
B-2 bombers, nuclear dust. It is now and has been under very exacting satellite surveillance. Nothing has been touched from the date of the attack. We are and will be talking tariff and sanctions relief with Iran. Many of the 15 points have already been agreed to. That was Donald Trump. U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, for his part, says that U.S. troops will, quote, hang around near Iran, ready to resume the war in case the ceasefire fails.
Now we have a chance at real peace and a real deal. The War Department, for now, has done its part. We stand ready in the background to ensure Iran upholds every reasonable term. And as everyone knows, nobody makes a better deal than President Trump. We'll be hanging around. We're not going anywhere. We're going to make sure Iran complies with this ceasefire and then ultimately comes to the table and makes a deal. So we'll stay put, stay ready, stay vigilant, as the chairman laid out. Our troops are prepared to defend, prepared to go on offense, prepared to restart at a moment's notice.
Iran's foreign minister has already flagged concerns about ceasefire breaches in Iran and Lebanon during a call with Pakistan's army commander. Iranian authorities have reported an enemy attack on an oil refinery on Lavan Island. The National Iranian Oil Refining and Distribution Company says it was hit at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, and that's after the ceasefire was announced. So we're live from the White House, near Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. But first, let's speak to Tahir Asadi, who's in Iran's capital of Tehran. So, Tahir, just tell us more about the next step, this high-stakes meeting in Islamabad. What do we know, and who'll be taking part?
Well, actually, there are so many actors and factors playing a role whether or not this meeting is going to be successful.
Let's see what else is going on here. I don't know. Sneako to me is just like a whole ass something. I don't know.
And this part, here at home, we're learning another relative of the Iranian regime has been living lavishly in Los Angeles. According to court documents, adjunct professional...
And I know, dude, I know I need to do Cash App, bro. I do have a Cash App, so if anyone wants to Cash App me, here it is. Let's see. It's an L before the A. If anyone wants to Cash App me, there's the Cash App. Your name will still get written down on the Super Chat wall, because any donations, your name does get written on the wall. There's my Cash App. You can also go to my link in my bio and go to my Ko-Fi and donate there. And yeah, show some love and support, man. Support the channel by Cash Apping or whatever. It really does go a long way, and it helps me be able to do this full time.
Psychology professor Isa Hashimi has reportedly been living in the United States for years after allegedly coming here on a student visa. His mom was known to the world as Screaming Mary. She was the spokeswoman for the Iranian militants who took 52 Americans hostage for 444 days in 1979. At one point, she told reporters she would gladly pick up a gun and kill American hostages. Screaming Mary was his mom. He's living it up here in the U.S. Now a petition is circulating online demanding the Trump administration kick Screaming Mary's boy out of the country, which is exactly what's happening to the niece and grandniece of notorious Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. Those two had been posting pictures bragging about their Lux lives before they were arrested by ICE. Critics are applauding the crackdown.
We ought to start, we need a cleaning, and this needs to start right now. This is a perfect example of what we need to be doing, because I guarantee you the money they're spending is probably somehow is shipped over there to an NGO in one of those countries from American taxpayers or the United Nations, and they come back over here and they trash this great country.
Oh, I'm having a 6-7 moment. Don't tell any teenager you know. It is Lux life or go back to Iran.
Yeah, and the New York Post had a really interesting article citing that there are anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 of these individuals in the country, of relatives of the Iranian regime elites and bureaucrats living in our country, studying at our universities, even teaching at some of our universities as well. And to your point, Harris, think about the contradiction here. So in Iran, their leaders are chanting death to America. They're calling us the great Satan. They're burning our flags. They're trying to kill our men and women, yet their relatives are coming to the United States. So if we're the great Satan, why do you want to be here? And why the heck are we allowing you to be here? And then beyond that, if you remember back to the Biden administration, we've even allowed some of these individuals to work in our government. Do you remember Semaphore had that article about some of the members who were tied to the Iran Experts Initiative, which was a part of the Iran Foreign Ministry's influence campaign here in the West, and they were working for the Biden administration. So we really got to think about this legal immigration stuff. Why are we giving these people visas and green cards?
Kaylee.
Yeah, and not only is this individual in this country, he is a professor.
Exactly.
Right, a college psychology professor. Apparently you pay $20,000 to go to this school, and this is the person shaping the minds of Americans. And where, you know, I'm reading through the New York Post, there's no definitive break. We just reported, you know, he's not disowning his mom. So why is this person teaching our children? Not only that, apparently, this is in the New York Post too, the father of this individual, according to some people who were involved in some of these hostage interrogations that happened in Iran, he was in the room during some of the tortures of these hostages in Iran. So if you can't make that definitive break from your parents, why are you here? Why are you a psychology professor? You would think the school could find better.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the school not knowing history. Right? I mean, maybe they had no idea who this man was, but don't you do any sort of vetting? And when you see a connection, doesn't the leader of the history department say, whoa, yo?
Yes. And I'd like to say this, too, that the professors, the relatives of these individuals at Tulane, at Emory and the like, there have been petitions circulating. There have been an outcry from the dissidents of the Islamic Republic for quite some time trying to get them out of here. It's only now that it's sort of catching fire amongst the country as we see with horrified lens that these individuals have been benefiting, living off the fat of Western culture while lambasting it at the same time and enjoying, by the way, the fruits of blood money. And you hit the nail on the head to me that there is no break from the regime. These are not people who have sought asylum here that have said, you know, I have zero connection with my terrorist families. These are people who enjoy bashing Western values and bashing the United States in the same breath as posting those kind of, or not that one, but posting the photos of themselves. And I note the horrific contrast of a regime that butchers and murders young women for not wearing a hijab. And then these young women get to post photos of themselves half naked and in front of private jets and all of those lavish, luxe, clickbaiting, ridiculous positions. Well, the positions of many of their brethren are now 6 feet under. It is horrifying that this regime that we are talking about today, that has put human chains around targets, that put children around targets, enjoys their children living off our luxury and our generosity. So I hope indeed that those petitions find their way to a lot more concretized action than simply circulating online.
Yeah, they're just a bunch of terrorists. They sound like Hamas. That's who does.
Oh my goodness. They're talking a lot of shit, aren't they?
Does that. They put, you know, women and children around targets and use them so that the enemy kills them first. The niece and the grandniece living in Los
Here's just a thought. I don't know if it's like so they kill them first. I mean, regardless, people are going to die, but it's like they're putting them there to show that the U.S. doesn't care in a way. Like that we're willing to murder civilians, right? Allegedly. Like that's what they're putting them there for. They're, you know, like, oh, are you going to strike it? We'll put the women and children there. And if you're a moral country, then you won't strike it. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like a ploy, right?
Los Angeles got asylum in this country in 2019. Then they got green cards, reportedly. I know Secretary of State Marco Rubio has started a huge drumbeat now. You were talking about how they come to this country, Emily, with taking away those green cards. Because, Paul, they're at the discretion of the nation. Like, that's a gift. You don't just automatically get that. So he's taken them away. And now they're on that short deport list.
I'd love to know the route. We don't have an embassy in Tehran, okay? So what State Department consular officer in the diplomatic cone reviewed the applications, approved this, and said, in you go, and I'd like to know their status. Are they...
It is fucked, though, if, you know, because they do enforce those rules and those laws in Iran. Excuse me. Like, women who don't wear hijabs get, you know, unalived, or they have these strict rules, but then when they come to America, they're able to live like this. Like, it's just not right. Like, I don't know. But I'm sure there's also parts of Iran that don't agree with that, right? Like, don't agree with, like, them living over here and not wearing their hijab or this or that, you know? I don't know. What I do know is that everybody should have rights. Everybody should be able to live their life and not have to have a government unalive them because they don't like what they're wearing or they don't like them what they say, you know.
LPRs, are they green card holders? Are they here? I know the reporting is that Hashemi is here on a student visa. Well, those expire. So what is he doing here? Once again, it's another example of the fact that we had open borders and we had an immigration system that nobody really seemed to have any interest in minding. And all I would say is just expand the footprint of this story a little bit, because if they could do this, imagine what, let's say, the Russians, the Chinese, especially the Chinese, these Confucian institutes on our universities are just rampant.
So that's interesting.
What they're doing.
That's interesting, because that came up today with one of the guests on Fox News about Hungary, which is where the Vice President J.D. Vance is, and that our nations are together on ideological views, so on and so forth. But those Confucian institutes, I think I'm saying it right, Confucius Institutes.
Yeah.
They're not teaching the morality of Confucius. They're teaching the language on how to survive, like as a tourist, and assimilate into a culture. It's fascinating.
They are spy outposts. I don't care what anybody says, and that's a lot of universities have shut them down. But a lot of universities, for ideological reasons, just because they perceive it as somehow or other, I think, anti-American, they are dogged in keeping them here. The only thing I will say real quick to close the loop on the Iranian piece, though, sometimes there's a reason to let people come here and let them stay.
All right.
So, but once they are done with their usefulness, throw them out.
I mean, you are such
Talk about more on that in the break.
Talk about a cliffhanger.
What an inspector. So that's an asset.
Yeah,
that you're willing to get rid of.
You let them stay here until you realize, okay, you know, we got everything we can get, and now launch them. That's it.
I have so many questions.
I know you should write our teases, Paul.
I'm definitely paying.
Launch them. Maybe they're still worth hanging on to. So you got to.
Because that's some good information. All right.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.
Oh, it was a massive TikTok moment that's over. The American life of luxury, over. Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement has arrested the niece and grandniece of an Iranian general the U.S. just killed during President Trump's first term. ICE busted them shortly after the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, revoked their green cards. The pair had posted praise for...
My whole thing is, like, why are they in America? Like, what the fuck are they in America for? Why are these people here? When we're at war with their country and we're taking out all these people that they're related to, why would they be here?
Iran's regime and celebrations of attacks on the U.S. At the same time, they were living a very high lifestyle in L.A. Senior foreign policy correspondent Jillian Turner has more from the State Department. Jillian.
I'd love to see girls in Iran dressed like that and see what happens.
Yeah.
Good morning to you, Harris. These relatives of Qasem Soleimani did more than just praise Iran's regime and enemy of the United States on social media. These women publicly supported the IRGC, that's Iran's military, that's designated a foreign terrorist organization here in the United States. The Trump administration says that amounts to material support. in this case. So take a look at these women. The niece and the grandniece of Qasem Soleimani, they are in ICE custody now, pending removal from the U.S. The Secretary of State says the move came after he terminated their legal status in the country last week, posting on X. Until recently, Hamideh Soleimani Afshar and her daughter were green card holders living lavishly in the U.S. She celebrated attacks on Americans and referred to our country as the, quote, Great Satan. President Trump often touts the operation he had authorized in his first term to take out Qasem Soleimani, a notorious killer responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of people. He counts it among his greatest counterterrorism achievements to this very day. Take a listen to the president a moment ago.
We killed Soleimani. Without Soleimani, if they had Soleimani, it would be a whole different thing. Maybe. Would still be winning, but it would have been harder. Because we are obliterating that country.
Well, Soleimani's niece entered the U.S. on a tourist visa in 2015, eventually secured asylum, then obtained a green card. Despite frequent trips home back to Iran, she sought relentlessly during her time here to become an influencer on social media. Her daughter came to the U.S. that same year on a student visa and essentially...
I'm not going to lie, guys. All right? And a lot of you guys are going to hate me for this, but I'd smash. She is pretty fucking hot, I'm not going to lie, bro. Like, and that's just me thinking with my, you know, do I even know what BRICS is? Yes, I know what BRICS is. It's the alliance, all China, Russia, Iran, and the other few countries that are in there. They have a alliance to help boost economy and all this other stuff. Yes, I know what BRICS is, dipshit. Anyway, get the fuck out of here. But she's hot, bro. I'd smash. I'm just thinking with my other head. I'm sorry.
Never left. She too spent much of her time promoting herself and her American lifestyle on social media platforms. Harris, the hypocrisy here, I mean, barely warrants a mention. It is self-evident. If these women were back home living under the rule of the regime they say they love, they would
Skippy. Yeah, she probably does.
Would not be allowed to post on social media. They would not be allowed to go out in public alone or even take selfies. They would not be allowed to attend college or school. They would be living under Sharia law. It would be a very different situation. Harris?
Jillian Turner, thank you very much. Former Department of Homeland Security advisor and former Secret Service agent Charles Marino is with me now. Charles, a lot of people have been asking, how in the world did they stay here? That nobody ever said anything after, their relative being annihilated in Trump's first term. We know that he was an enemy. The military took him out.
Well, it's the right question to be asking right now, especially since it appears that as a country, we still haven't learned the lessons of September 11th, 2001, where shortly after those attacks, the Saudi government requested that the FBI assist in relocating over 24 members of the bin Laden family after that attack. We knew he was leading al-Qaeda. We knew he was an adversary of the United States, and yet we had 24 of his family members here in the United States. And this is the same situation. I think the American people would be shocked to learn how many people we have allowed into the country, either through claims of asylum or on student visas or tourist visas, that are associated with adversarial countries, including the leaders of those countries. This needs to stop. We have got to understand that countries like China, for example, who continue to exploit American universities for the theft of intellectual property and destruction of scientific data, etc., continue to flood and exploit the immigration policies of the United States. And I don't think the American people should have to learn another tough lesson through another act of terrorism to understand that our policies are backwards right now. And some of our elected leaders continue to bury their heads in the sand and live in this augmented reality that just doesn't match what's going on the ground.
Look, having worked at DHS as an advisor, I mean, you know the details of what it can cost us, not just with 9/11, but just overall, it sows the seeds with other enemies. Like, well, maybe we can go to America after hating them and threatening to kill Americans and become an influencer. A new editorial with this headline, California should thank ICE for arresting Iranian terror generals' high-living relatives. And here's part of that. It is unusual for the families of America's sworn enemies to support the bad guys so openly while enjoying the California sunshine. Soleimani's relatives must have thought they were immune. After all, they lived in a sanctuary state. But as Rubio noted, Secretary of State, a green card is a privilege, not a right. And you cannot support America's enemies and expect to stay in the country. Charles.
Well, and I don't think the administration is holding their breath, waiting for a big thank you from Gavin Newsom, just like they wouldn't get one from Tim Walz or Governor Hochul in New York City. These sanctuary jurisdictions are actually more likely to take the side of those that have been deported, no matter their association or the reason why they were here in the country. So, look, we are one of the most lax countries in the world when it comes to our border and immigration policies. And we saw that to an extreme under the Biden administration. And now the Trump administration has a great deal of catching up to do through Marco Rubio at the State Department in terms of vetting. Vetting that wasn't done.
Charles, I need to pull away. Please forgive me.
Was done.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox 1.
First, it was Minnesota.
Oh, Nick Shirley's on the news now? Yeah, he's been getting a lot of shit for what's going on.
And now independent journalist Nick Shirley is hitting the streets of California in a new video that was released this week, digging into potential daycare fraud in the Golden State.
Can we enroll a child into the daycare?
You don't know what's going on.
Well, it says there's 14 children enrolled here on the state of California.
Well, then there's California's Medi-Cal program, which covers hospice care in the state. Now, over the past 5 years, you'll see here, Medi-Cal's annual budget has soared. It is now projected to be over $200 billion with a B. But despite all that money spent, Nick says that some buildings were left totally empty.
Let's see if Grandma could check herself into this one. I'm just trying to be a good grandson. When we're knocking the door, no one's coming. We look inside the window. Empty building.
We reached out to several entities that Nick investigated. Some just totally hung up, others didn't answer at all, and we did hear back from California Governor Gavin Newsom's team, who referred us to his post on the press office's X page, which read like this: "Wow, Nick Shirley finds potential fraud in Donald Trump's federal Medicare system. Gavin Newsom imposed a moratorium on new hospice licenses beginning in 2021. Well, Newsom's own state's Department of Health, it's the Healthcare Services, I should say, is in charge of monitoring medical fraud. And just last night, that department reached out to us with a statement reading in part, quote, "California continues to take decisive action regarding hospice fraud. The department remains firmly committed to protecting medical members, strengthening oversight, and ensuring that taxpayer dollars are used appropriately." Well, with that, independent journalist Nick Shirley joins me now. Nick, I watched the entire 40-minute video. I saw when you pulled up to a supposed daycare center and you found young children alone. And you kept saying, "Where's the worker here with you? Where's the daycare leader?" And there was no one there. Were these kids totally alone? Did you ever find an adult there?
Yes, at that daycare, those kids were completely alone.
How old were they?
Completely alone, and it's. I imagine they're between the ages of 5 to 8 years old. They're completely alone, and keep in mind, they're able to have these daycares in like these apartment complexes in the neighborhoods. These aren't like the daycares where you'd be sending your kids to. These are people who are taking money for government subsidies to collect to fund their lifestyles.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And I felt like I was watching a rerun of Minnesota, except no, wait, this was totally different state. It was California. Gavin Newsom has said, "You're hyping massive fraud and you came up empty." What do you say in response to that?
Well, just go ahead and watch the video. I mean, these hospice owners are driving around $100,000, $200,000 cars. The people in the video even say that there is fraud happening. And then you go to a place where they've received over $1 million in funding, and there's nothing to show.
Yeah, well, you found a defender in Democratic Senator John Fetterman. I want to play that. Watch this.
Why can't you celebrate any journalist or any, activist doing that? And what, Governor Newsom put out a disgusting video implying that he's, a pedophile or he's that. Like, why? That's like kind of a smear. Shouldn't we agree? Like, eliminate all the waste.
What do you make of that? John Fetterman defending your work there.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think John Fetterman, he's one of the Democrats that has common sense. And Gavin Newsom, he had the opportunity to say, okay, thank you for exposing this fraud. Now let's go down and crack down on it. Instead, he comes after the person for exposing the fraud. It's not too hard to say, fraud is bad, let's fix it. And that's what Fetterman is saying. He said, it's bad anywhere. If I were to go to any state in America, you'd be able to find fraud. It just so happens to be that a large portion of this fraud is taking place in Democrat-ran cities and states.
Yeah, we're seeing it now. There's a national fraud commission that's looking into this. You posted this after your video hit. You said, after last night and the constant doxing attempts and threats from people who want to attack me, largely due to politicians and leftist hate-filled rhetoric as I expose billion-dollar fraud schemes stealing from taxpayers, I've decided it's time to raise money for security costs. What happened?
Yeah, so people try to dox my location live, especially, and a lot of times when I go to these cities now, it sucks because I'll go to a city, I'll go be out filming, someone will take a photo, some activists, some left-wing activists will then take a photo, put me in a Reddit group chat. This happened to me in Baltimore. It just happened this last weekend in California, and they say, run Nick Shirley out, or they'll say, if you see Nick Shirley, it's on site. And so this has happened in multiple cities. Had money for security after Minnesota. That money went down to pretty much nothing. So unfortunately, I had to raise funds again to be able to have security to be able to out and go film these videos. To film one of these videos now, I used to be able to film these videos without security. Now it costs anywhere from, the last hospice video cost $15,000 to go film because I had to have security for 3 days to go film this video. And so it's extremely hard to go out and do that. So I asked my fans and viewers if they could help me out with those security costs.
Yeah, and they can find that information on your X page. A lot of people wonder, you're just in your 20s, how you do this. You're talking about Baltimore, California, Minnesota. I mean, Governor Walz said he's not running for office after your explosive reporting hit. And I have a soundbite I want to play. It's your background and what makes Nick Shirley, Nick Shirley. Let's play it.
I started making videos more politically based after I had returned back from a 2-year mission for my church, and I had $0. So when I came home back from that trip, I worked for an entire month. I power washed houses, and my goal was to make $10,000 in cash. And so I took that $10,000 in cash and used that to funnel my YouTube channel for the first 3 months until I could actually make a profit. Even when I went on my mission trip, I was still making videos, interviewing people about Jesus in Spanish.
So your faith has motivated you, hasn't it?
Yeah, and more so than anything, it's kept me on the straight and narrow, and it's kept me on a good path to be able to go do what I want to do.
Well, love learning about your background. It's extraordinarily impressive, making consequential change in your young 20s. Thanks so much, Nick Shirley. Well, President,
be sure to like and.
All right, sorry about that, guys. I was uploading the video. I got it being checked out right now by the AI ratings. I was supposed to upload it yesterday, but I didn't get to editing it, so I just edited it quick and I'm going to put it out. Appreciate you guys for being here.
Secretary General Mark Rutte.
Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Join the See Me Now family. We're on the road to 20,000 subs. Most importantly, we're on the road to 100K subs. We're trying to get that silver plaque. So much love to everybody who's in here, man. 31 more beautiful people just need to double tap the screen. We'll be at 100 likes. Let me know what you got. Let me know how you guys' Easter weekend went. Did you guys have a good Easter? Did you celebrate Easter? What did you eat? Show some love and support. I do have a super chat goal up of 5 super chats, $10 and above. Get your name written down on the super chat wall and support the channel. Also, you can become a member, become a See Me Now soldier or See Me Now general. They need to see us now. We've been ignored for too long. God bless you guys. Join the family.
Is in Washington, and he's set to meet with the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, in moments, and then will be at the White House later today. The visit is seen as damage control for the alliance as President Trump has slammed NATO for not helping with the Iran war. Meanwhile, Vice President J.D. Vance saying this.
What the president set out to do was decimate the Iranian military, decimate their ability to wage conventional war. And that military objective, as the president said yesterday, as I said yesterday, has been achieved. And because of that, what the president did is he basically issued an ultimatum to the Iranians. He said, open up the straits, stop trying to hold the world's economy hostage, and we'll engage in a ceasefire. And that's exactly the agreement that we came to last night.
And Michael Allen, he is with us now. He's a former senior director at the NSC. It's great to have you. I'm going to get to NATO in a second, but let's start with the Strait of Hormuz. Apparently the markets are, at least at the futures, are saying, okay, they like this idea of a ceasefire, but there's a lot here, as Keene just went through. J.D. Vance just said it's fragile. But will you start to see companies have confidence to move their ships through the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, I'm not so sure. I mean, I'm aware that 2 ships made it through this morning, but let's figure out where they were flagged and whether they were friendly friends of Iran or not. I mean, I'm still worried about this. I mean, well, if we take stock and this ended today.
And guys, by the way, go support after you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I go live, and all updates to the channel, like uploads or anything like that. Make sure you go check out my new video I just uploaded. It's about the offset situation. We all pretty much know about it, but your boy just uploaded a new video. Go check it out. Make sure you go check out all my other videos. Send hypes. Help me get in the algorithm. Help me get to 100K subs. Show some love and support, guys. I appreciate you guys.
I'm glad we degraded their military and their ability to project power across the region. I think that's an unqualified success, and maybe one day we'll look back on this as an accelerant towards the eventual collapse of the regime. But zeroing in on the strait, I don't like the language the Iranians have been using. They're talking about how any passage by any tankers need to be coordinated with the Iranian military. There's a suggestion that they could levy quote-unquote technical matters or site
Welcome
technical
in, Brody.
matters.
Hey, man, it's been a while. Welcome in, Brody. God bless you, brother. How you been?
As an obstacle to getting people through. And when you consider that and this idea out there that the Iranians want to charge a toll, it doesn't seem to be free passage of the Straits of Hormuz. So the president's got to press the advantage that he has in this 2-week period to make sure the Iranians live up to what we thought we were agreeing to, which is unimpeded international water.
Thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate you. It's so crazy how far we've came and how much we've grown. The family is so it's just so big now. So many different people come in all the time, and it's just I'm sorry I haven't been live as much, but I've just been perfecting my craft on editing videos and uploading, but I'm getting better at doing both at the same time, so we're only going to grow from here, and I really do appreciate you guys, man. I got the best YouTube community in the world, and I stand by that. God bless you guys, man. Life is good, brother. I can't complain. Same to you, bro. Life is a blessing. Every day we wake up is a blessing.
Way of the Straits of Hormuz.
And there is a possibility that there would be talks in person in Pakistan on Friday. Do you think that we should go, and who should be negotiating?
So I think we're bound to go. I mean, we had the Pakistanis be the intermediary here, at least to broker the ceasefire. I don't know that I would send the vice president quite yet. I think of the vice president as the closer. I think we ought to send Marco Rubio. I think he ought to go, and maybe with Steve Witkoff and Jared as well. But I'm not ready to send the vice president in quite yet. I think we have a lot of spade work we have to get through, a lot of posturing we have to get through with the Iranians to even see if there's a long-term deal that's possible. By the way, I don't really think there is. I think at best we just move forward with what we have now, which is, let's hope, unimpeded access to the straits, traded for we won't bomb your country anymore, and we may just have a de facto ceasefire that goes beyond 2 weeks and into the future.
Do you think America and Israel are more safe today from Iran's attacks than they were 6 weeks ago?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I do think it's a success that we were able to substantially degrade their ballistic missile force. I know the critics of the president are trying to say, well, we didn't get all of it, and they still retain drones and the rest. But this is important. We really have set them back years. And it's not necessarily the time to sit here and talk about everything we didn't achieve. It's time for some stock taking. And when you look at the bigger picture, I think we substantially weakened the regime, and we may look back on this as one of these milestones, along with the protests that occurred last month and the collapse of the economy in December, as important way stations on the way to an eventual collapse. I think their days are numbered. I don't think they're going to be around forever. It's just unforeseeable when they might actually fall.
Michael Allen, thank you. I'm sure we'll be in touch as this develops. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.
Let's bring in Martha McCallum, anchor and executive editor of the story.
I just had one I wanted to play here.
Let's bring in Martha McCallum, anchor and executive editor of the story, and Mark Thiessen, Fox News contributor and former speaker.
Wrong one. Right here.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm
thanks
trying
for
to play
being
them as
here.
they-
I want to start
I'm trying to play them as they upload for you guys.
this morning by honoring the 13 members of our American Joint Force who were killed in action thus far during this operation. Their sacrifice and that of their families is deeply important to us, and we are grateful for each of them and will continue to mourn their loss. Their names and their bravery will never be forgotten. On February 28th, the President of the United States ordered the Joint Force to execute Operation Epic Fury with the direction to accomplish three distinct military objectives: destroy Iran's ballistic missile and drone capabilities, destroy the Iranian Navy, and destroy their defense industrial base to ensure that Iran cannot reconstitute the ability to project power outside their borders. Over the course of 38 days of major combat operation, the Joint Force achieved the military objectives as defined by the President. We welcome the ongoing ceasefire, and as the Secretary said, we hope that Iran chooses a lasting peace. But as Secretary Hegseth said, let us be clear, a ceasefire is a pause, and the Joint Force remains ready, if ordered or called upon, to resume combat operations with the same speed and precision as we've demonstrated over the last 38 days, and we hope that that is not the case. I want to congratulate and thank the leadership today at U.S. Central Command, including the Commander Admiral Brad Cooper, the Deputy Commander Lieutenant General Kevin Leahy, the Senior Enlisted Leader Fleet Master Chief Compton, and every one of the component commanders, senior enlisted leaders, and especially the staff down at U.S. Central Command, who does not get called out for any of the credit, but grinds 24/7 to help offer the options that we bring to the Secretary and the President. I also want to highlight the forces in the United States European Command under the command of Alexis Grinkowicz, who protected the western flank in support of CENTCOM. And I want to thank our partners across the intelligence community. Our ability to see and understand what an adversary is doing help us to be as decisive as we must be on the battlefield. And that includes DIA, NSA, NGA, the CIA, and the National Reconnaissance Office, and others. I want to thank the other combatant commands who have thus far contributed along the way to U.S. Central Command. This includes Transcom, Stratcom, Spacecom, SOCOM, and Cybercom, all of whom poured all in support of CENTCOM's efforts. And I want to thank, as the Secretary did, our Gulf partners who fought alongside each and every one of us every day. From the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, and Jordan, all who joined us together to defend and protect our people and our assets, and who, if required, stand ready to do so again. And I want to thank my team at the Joint Staff, who work literally around the clock in order to help me offer the options that I must with the associated risks to the Secretary and to the President. They are the hardest working people that I know, and I am deeply grateful for their service. Most importantly today, I want to thank America's members of the Joint Force who've poured everything that they can into Operation Epic Fury, and their families who've worked 24 hours a day for 38 days. The Secretary and I could not be more proud of each and every one of you. And we deeply appreciate the support of the American people, who we know always have us in our thoughts and prayers, and we can feel this literally every single day. As the Secretary said, the United States has devastated the regime's ability to harm Americans and our interests for years to come. Since the beginning of major combat operations, the United States Joint Force has struck more than 13,000 targets, including in that 13,000 more than 4,000 dynamic targets that popped up on the battlefield and were immediately addressed, thanks to the exceptional command and control system and intelligence, acumen, and agility of our Joint Force. CENTCOM forces destroyed approximately 80% of Iran's air defense systems, striking more than 1,500 air defense targets, more than 450 ballistic missile storage facilities, 800 one-way attack drones storage facilities. All of these systems are gone. We've devastated Iran's command and control and logistical networks, destroying more than 2,000 command and control nodes and degrading their ability to target U.S. and friendly forces. It is, and we know this, incredibly frustrating right now to be a lower level Iranian commander trying to fight your fight. As the Secretary said, the Iranian Navy now lies mostly at the bottom of the Arabian Gulf, and we assess that we've sunk more than 90% of their regular fleet, including all of the major surface combatants, as the Secretary said. 150 ships are at the bottom of the ocean, and half of the IRGC Navy's small attack boats. Joint fires protected from the land, sea, and air executed more than 700 strikes against naval mine targets, and we had assessed that we destroyed more than 95% of their naval mines. And perhaps most importantly, we've destroyed Iran's defense industrial base, their ability to reconstitute those capabilities for years to come. We attacked, along with our partners, approximately 90% of their weapons factories. Every factory that produced Shahed one-way attack drones was struck. Every factory that produces the guidance systems that go into those drones was struck. Their missile defense industrial base is shattered, with more than 80% of their missile facilities gone, as well as their solid rocket motor production capability. It will take years for Iran to rebuild any major surface combatants, as more than 20 naval production and fabrication facilities have been damaged or destroyed, and nearly 80% of Iran's nuclear industrial base was hit, further degrading their attempts to attain a nuclear weapon. Throughout Operation Epic Fury, our joint force struck at the heart of Iran's ability to project power and threaten the United States and the region. And in order to do this, it required the service and sacrifice of more than 50,000 American warfighters deployed across CENTCOM, EUCOM, and stateside. The Joint Force flew more than 10,000 missions, including 62 bomber missions, 18 of which flew round trip from the United States to deliver bombs on military targets. Each of these missions was more than 30 hours in duration, and we did that 18 times. No other military in the world can do that. And it's a testament to the logistical force that quietly serves behind them. I cannot thank TRANSCOM and the Air Force Tanker and Mobility Force more. Combined with Army and Navy joint fires, we struck more than 13,000 targets. And along with our Gulf partners, we've thus far intercepted 1,700 ballistic missiles and one-way attack drones, defending our forces and our partners in the civilian population. And we remain ready to do so should the need arise. Along the way, we consume more than 6 million meals, and by my estimate, more than 950,000 gallons of coffee, 2 million energy drinks, and a lot of nicotine, but I am not saying that we have a problem. I've laid out the statistics, but it does not truly capture the nature of combat. This is gritty and unforgiving business. It's chaotic. It's hot, it's dark, it's unpredictable, and there's always unknowns. And our people proudly walked into those unknowns and continue forward. And through it all, the Joint Force has demonstrated the unwavering resolve that the nation demands of us. We are a mission-focused force, and our objectives always is to create the conditions for peace, and today we have, while be ready should that peace break, which we hope it is not, and we remain ready. Before I turn it back to the Secretary, I also want to quickly revisit the rescue of the Air Force fighter crew over the weekend. To give you an update, we've had, the Secretary and I have had the profound honor of speaking directly with many of the warfighters on that mission, from the downed crew that were picked up to those forces that went and got them. Hearing these stories firsthand has only...
By the way, guys, going from the picture or the video that I have on my shorts of when he bit me to now, look at how freaking big Spritz is. Look at him. Look how big he is. Hello, buddy. He's a good boy. One of the best animals I've ever had.
Deepened our appreciation for their tenacity, creativity, courage, and grit of the American Joint Force. This is a story that gets to the very heart and soul of who we are as a joint force, who we are as Americans. Selfless sacrifice in service of others. From the backseater, Dude 44 Bravo, whose pure and unadulterated joy at seeing those helicopters come into the valley to get his front seater in daylight because he knew the front seater did not have a jacket, and was so filled with heart-leaping joy at his front seater getting picked up, to the nighttime folks that went in and then got him, to the tanker forces that did the things that they had to do to give their own gas away, to the support packages, to those that went into the desert landing site not once, not twice, but 3 times as we fought through multiple contingencies. This was and is a joint force that has the guts to try, that does not quit, and who each and every day does the things that we must to dare to win. No lives were lost. We succeeded because the joint force is always at the ready. They trust each other, they trust their leaders, and they trust their training. And they remember first, foremost, and always that we do these things so that others may live, and we will never leave anyone behind. The success of Operation Fury thus far, and we hope
experience anything more violent than ejecting out of a fighter jet aircraft. There's
I guess we'll see how it goes with the ceasefire, huh?
nothing on the planet that comes even close. The most violent experience of your life, period.
A seriously wounded U.S. Air Force colonel was rescued after ejecting from his shot-down fighter jet over Iran. Despite his injuries, the F-15E weapons officer evaded capture for 36 hours behind enemy lines after punching out. What many people don't realize is that ejection can be a shockingly violent and even deadly procedure that wreaks havoc on the body, potentially shrinking a pilot's height by up to 2 inches. But why is ejecting from a fighter jet so traumatic? We spoke to a former Top Gun pilot to break it down.
My name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Wiz. I flew the F-18 Hornet for the United States Navy for about 15 years. Graduated from the Navy Fighter Weapons School adversary course, which most people know as Top Gun. You're always worried about the condition of an aviator or an air crew if they had to eject, because ejecting is one of the most violent experiences a body can go through. It's literally a choice between death and pulling the yellow and black ejection handles between your legs. So it's a pretty stark choice, either die or eject. And in ejection, you go from 0, just sitting here in a chair, to an instantaneous 10 to 20 Gs of force. And that's the blink of an eye. When you pull the handle, in the blink of an eye, about a second to a second and a half, the canopy goes, the seat fires, and you're hanging in your parachute. So it's an incredibly violent experience. So if you're uninjured from the ejection, now you have to land. And this is going to surprise a lot of folks. We don't do any parachute training. A lot of people think that, oh yeah, if you're a fighter pilot, you must do some parachute training. 0. So it sounds like either this Wizzo, the weapons system officer, was injured in the ejection or on the landing. Maybe it was on the landing because this was a pretty rocky and mountainous terrain, but it sounds like it didn't slow him down because he evaded capture by navigating to the top of a 7,000-foot peak and then establishing contact with friendly forces.
While life-saving, the lightning-fast process of ejecting is inherently brutal. In order for pilots to make it out of a doomed aircraft, they have to vertically clear the jet, which can easily be traveling at a few hundred miles per hour. In order for that to happen, the passenger and its seat are propelled upwards using an explosive catapult guided by a set of rails at breakneck speed.
Welcome in, Mick.
This initial explosion, which can knock pilots unconscious, is followed by a rocket underneath the seat that propels it an additional 100 feet or so. Altogether, those two processes take only half a second, which can cause spinal compression so severe that it leaves pilots 1 to 2 inches shorter in height.
A lot of guys have spinal cord injuries. It's a compression. I mean, literally you go 0 to 10 to 20 G's instantaneously. If you've seen any like dogfighting videos of pulling G's, I would fight the jet on the edge of consciousness, right? Pulling 8 or 9 G's. That's hell. Now double that. And it's extremely violent. The human body is not designed, first of all, to pull G's, let alone to eject out of an aircraft. So yeah, it's a very violent experience.
And all of that's if everything has gone right. If a passenger isn't positioned nearly perfectly while ejecting, the injury sustained could be life-altering.
The other thing that's
shout out you, Mick. Shout out England, or the UK. Yeah, he's the man, that's for sure. He never gets mad, ever. And he's just vibes, man. He's my little best friend. I don't know what I'd do without him, to be honest with you. He's just awesome. I gotta get him some veggies today.
Pretty violent is you're going from sitting right here, no wind at all, to potentially 300, 400, 500 miles an hour of wind blast. So, if you've been driving down the highway, doing 80, 90, breaking the law, and you put your hand out the window, it almost gets ripped back, right? So if you're not in a good body position when you eject, if your arm's hanging out a little bit, you might have what we call a flail injury. Your arms might just get ripped out of their sockets type of thing if you're not in a good body position. I have a close friend of mine who survived the fastest F-18 ejection. He was almost supersonic. It was like 695 miles per hour. And it would be quicker to tell you what didn't break as opposed to what broke, just like everything broke. So it's a very violent experience, from the ejection itself to going into the wind blast to now having to land in enemy territory. I mean, there's almost...
Welcome to the See Me Now family, Mick.
An infinite number of things that can go wrong. I remember switching from wearing a metallic band to a leather band when I started flying fighters. Why? Because there was a guy flying a Prowler who was out of position, and they pulled the ejection handle, and his metal watch band got caught on the canopy. And when he was hanging in his parachute, he went to inflate his raft. You pull on these two tabs, and only one side opened up. He's like, why isn't this other tab opening? And he looked down, and his hand had been sheathed off. And it's interesting because the military defines a successful ejection as pilot pulls the ejection handle, canopy fires, rocket fires, parachute opens. What didn't I name? You live. So the definition of a successful ejection to the military is all that stuff worked. What happened to the pilot is in God's hands. So there are so many things that can go wrong during this. Like I said, pulling the ejection handles, it's either that or death. And
hello from Fox News in Washington. We begin with a Fox News alert on the rescue of that second crew member from a downed F-15E Strike Eagle in mountainous.
Yeah, bro, I'm down. Hey, bro, I'm down to down some pints, homie. I'm always down for that. I would love to come there and see what's up. I cannot wait until I start traveling in the world. It's just gonna be awesome. So I'm 100% down. Gonna have to let me know where it's at. And this guy's gonna come too. We'll give him a little mini pint.
This terrain behind enemy lines. On Truth Social overnight, President Trump announced the news and said
Sorry if I'm watching clips from a little bit back, like a couple days. I mean, I really have not been keeping up on anything, to be honest with you. My daughter's birthday was Saturday. It was Easter Sunday, so I've been busy, man. Yeah, I don't know. I've been busy. So much love to you guys. I love y'all.
Airman is a highly respected colonel who evaded capture on the ground. The president said he's, quote, sustained injuries, but he will be just fine. Let's bring in Fox News chief foreign correspondent Trey Yingst. Hello, Trey.
Shannon, good morning. It was a daring operation that included hundreds of U.S. Special Forces to rescue a stranded crew member. The successful extraction was announced overnight by President Trump on Truth Social, who said, "We got him," before providing new details that give a behind-the-scenes look at what took place, with dozens of U.S. military aircraft being used to retrieve him as U.S. leadership tracked his location. The pilot of the jet was rescued by U.S. Special Forces on Friday, but President Trump said they waited to confirm as to not jeopardize the second operation. The president added, quote, "This is the first time in military memory that 2 U.S. pilots have been rescued separately deep in enemy territory." Fox News has learned that after his F-15 fighter jet was shot down over southwestern Iran, the weapons systems officer hiked to an elevated mountain ridge where he hid and waited for rescue. At least one U.S. aircraft, believed to be a C-130 transport plane, was left behind and destroyed during the mission, Fox News has learned. The IDF says they avoided striking this area as American planes and helicopters flew at a low altitude, hoping to find any sign of the service member. Israeli forces, however, ramped up airstrikes over the weekend in other areas, targeting Iran's petrochemical plants. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu added this about the operation.
I promised you that we would continue to crush the terrorist regime in Tehran, and that is exactly what we are doing. After we destroyed 70% of their steel production capacity, which serves as raw material for their weapons, today we struck the petrochemical plants.
The Israelis took multiple rounds of incoming ballistic missile fire over the weekend, injuring several people. You can see the aftermath of a cluster munitions strike in the city of Ramat Gan, just outside of Tel Aviv. A social worker describes how his patient, Moshe, was saved.
Missile hit his house, of course, and the whole house was destroyed, and Moshe was saved miraculously. He was in the safest place in his house, and he was saved uninjured. And right now we're going to be helping him with shock and all of the emotional support he needs, as well as the bureaucratic procedures that need to take place.
While the Iranians continue to fire, the U.S. and Israeli strikes have been very successful, and sources tell Fox News thousands of sorties have been flown since Operation Epic Fury began. Shannon?
All right, Trace, thank you very much. Joining us now for more on how the rescue operation was pulled off.
Don't mind me, I'm just vibing with my lizard. I'm going to get off here in about 15 minutes. I got some other stuff I'm going to do with the videos. A lot of different content's going to be coming out soon. I want to try and do a lot more personal content. So I love you guys, man. Thank you for sticking with me today.
Retired Army Colonel Joe Puccino, former CENTCOM Communications Director. Colonel, good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me, Shannon.
Okay, we're getting little bits of more and more information, digesting this. But first of all, to point out to people, this is the area where the jet went down. The rescue of the first pilot was done closer to the jet going down. And then we watched and waited this weekend, praying for what looks like it has been a successful rescue.
Well, a grand way to start Easter Sunday, Easter miracle, and we're all thankful we have our colonel back.
Yes. Okay, I want to get us to the next map that shows us a little bit more about the region there. Very mountainous. Now, what we're told, as far as we can tell from the president, what he's been putting on Truth Social, that this individual was injured, but very brave, as he said. There's so much training you go through, never thinking that you might have to use this, but how critical is that while you wait for your rescuers?
Well, it's enormously critical, and the first aspect of that is survive. Okay, so he landed in this Khuzestan province is largely lowland. That's at altitude. So the first thing is survive. Then it's escape. So he went up 7,000 feet, or we're not exactly sure where he landed, but 7,000 feet while injured, climbing up this mountain range, the Zagros mountain range, and then from there it's make contact. So he activated his personnel locator beacon, which sends a signal that's encrypted to American forces. And from there, he went into a crevice and basically hid. So the third part, you go to ground and you evade. So he tucked into a crevice and just waited for forces to come and get him.
And it involves a lot of people and a lot of equipment and personnel to get to him, make sure that he gets out. And as far as we've heard from the president, no one was injured in that process either. It just continues to show us the enormous skill of our U.S. military.
Remarkable skill by the military, and this was a whole of national security effort here. You think about the CIA ran a diversion method. The CIA went in as if they were extracting him by ground into a maritime excursion in the Arabian Gulf. Meanwhile, he was being extracted by Special Forces operators, and just thousands of personnel involved in this. Really remarkable.
Yeah, guys, he's just vibing. He's the best. He's the best bearded dragon I've ever had. Oh my goodness, buddy. Say what's up to the camera, bro. Mwah. Say what's up to the camera. He's vibing, bro. He's vibing.
Rescue mission.
Well, and we know at the same time, of course, the Iranians were looking for him as well. How difficult is that when you're under that kind of pressure to think about, I've got to get to my folks. I've got to make sure they know how to find me. But he was actively probably having to evade those who would have wished him harm.
That's right. So it's a race to get to our service member. It's a race to get to our colonel between the Basij forces who know the terrain, right? They have the high ground. They live there. The Basij forces, the IRGC, and then we're coming in largely from Iraq, coming into Iran, into foreign territory to rescue our soldiers. So it's a race there. And of course, we won that race. But, you know, what helped that is this diversion method from the CIA that threw them off the trail.
And quickly, I want to ask you about the Strait of Hormuz, if we can turn to that as well, because the president is putting out on Truth Social, listen, I gave you a deadline. It is coming. We're going to wipe out bridges, infrastructure, power plants. You have the deadline. Where are we on getting that reopened?
I have a fear that we're a little bit of a ways off here. So in order to get that open, you've got to do a couple of things. First of all, you've got to knock out the coastal batteries, the short-range ballistic missiles that are on the coast here that can fire into the Strait of Hormuz. You got to get rid of the drone sites that can fire into the Strait of Hormuz. And then finally, you've got to get rid of or identify where the mines are in the Strait of Hormuz, if they're in there yet. So that's a little bit of a psychological warfare because we don't know where they are. The oil tankers don't know where they are, and if they're even there. So we've got to solve all of those problems before we can reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
Well, the deadline is coming. Colonel, thank you for your service and for being in with us today.
Shannon, thanks for having me. Yeah, happy Easter.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now.
I definitely know what you mean, Skippy. Except I drink like a whole pot of coffee in the morning. So I love you guys, man. I'm going to hop off so I can get the rest of these videos updated. I appreciate every single one of you guys for being on here. Say what's up, Spritz. Oh, it focused on him real good. Say what's up, homie. Say what's up to the camera. What's up, guys? I'm vibing with my dad. What's up? Say what's up, Spritzy Poo. Anyways, I love you guys, man. God bless you guys. Thank you for running it up today. We haven't been on live for a while like this, and we did pretty good on here today. I plan on being back on tomorrow. Watch out for the videos coming out. Like I said, man, you guys get 3 hypes a week, so make sure you guys send your hypes through on the videos. I just uploaded the offset video, so I got a lot more videos I'm going to upload. I got one that has to do with teenagers and peptides and a bunch of other stuff, which I don't condone, by the way. But yeah, thank you, Michael, for subscribing. Welcome to the family. Spartan, have a good day. Again, if you guys want to support me, my Ko-Fi is in my description. YouTube does take a brutal 30%. And again, thank you to Jazz for the $2 donations. God bless you. As you guys know, your guys' donations help go a long way. They help me be able to do this Monday through Friday full time. And I really do truly appreciate you. Again, my Ko-Fi is in my link in my bio on YouTube. There's the link as well. I don't think you can click it. But if you go to my bio, you can click the link there and support your boy. They only take like 5% instead of YouTube taking 30%. But yeah. Yeah, you'll definitely get a lizard in your bed if you don't like and subscribe. But this guy's just kicking it. See? His little foot. See? Boop. 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 Anyways. But yeah, I love you guys, man. I'll see you tomorrow. Much love to everybody. Again, go support the channel. Go send hypes. Hit the notification bell so you guys can know when I upload. And support your boy, okay? Go to my bio. Send through a blessing.